After 8 years, a missing Houston man is found, and what many are considering a miracle, Rudy Farias is back home today.
Tonight, we know it was a Good Samaritan who spotted Rudy. That person called 911 last Thursday after finding the young man unresponsive outside a Catholic church.
When this story was released here in Texas before it exploded, the news was like, wow, amazing, it's a miracle. This boy, now a man, had been missing for so long and he's been found. But why does he have all of this weird stuff in his pockets? The weird stuff in his pockets was just the very tip of the absolute insane iceberg that this case of Rudy Farias, which at the time of this video is an ongoing investigation. So the things that are coming out daily before you come for me are being released. So there's nothing I can do about that. Rudolph, or Rudy, as he was called by his family, was born in 1997. His parents were Rudolph Farias Sr. and Janie Santana. Rudy Sr. was a police officer for the Houston PD. Rudy also had a half-brother who was sadly killed in a motorcycle accident when Rudy was just 13. The family reported that this hit Rudy especially hard since he looked up to his brother. Around that time, Rudy Sr. was also caught up in a scheme. This scheme involved writing false speeding violations to claim overtime at the courts. He ended up claiming almost $200,000 in overtime from this scheme over a 3-year time frame. In 2014, Rudy Sr. took his own life while he was being investigated for this involvement in this scheme. March 6, 2015, Rudy took his 2 dogs for a walk near a park in Houston. It's reported after a few hours that one of the dogs had come home on its own. The following day, Rudy was reported missing. The missing person report that was filed said that Rudy was suffering from PTSD, anxiety, and depression, and at the time he was not medicated. Rudy was described by family as being 17 years old, but mentally about 11 or 12. His mother was distraught and did everything that she could to find her son. She set up a GoFundMe seeking donations to help in her search. It has been over a month, and Rudy is still missing, it reads. Please help us find Rudy. Rudy went out for a walk with his 2 puppies on March 6, 2015, and has not been seen nor heard of since then. Rudy's 2 puppies were found, but not Rudy. He suffers from both physical and mental disabilities, so we need to get him home ASAP. All ground searches have been pulled back, and now we, the entire Houston, Texas community, have to get our own ground search together. People say that it takes a village to raise a child. Now, we need the village to help find our child. We are asking for donations to be able to help offer a reward for information leading us to Rudy, as well as medical expenses for Rudy since he's been missing since March 6th, and each day that passes means his health is deteriorating gravely. Rudy's mother is a single parent who's already lost her eldest son in 2011 and Rudy's father in 2014. She needs financial assistance since she is unable to work, understandably so, with her son missing. The bills are piling up, and Rudy's mother's health is also deteriorated as she is devastated mentally and physically and emotionally utterly exhausted. Please dig deep into your hearts and put yourself in Rudy's mother's place. She cannot do this alone. Give what you can and know that God will bless you in all that you did for her. We believe that Rudy is still alive and time is running out. The cops continue to search, and after a month, they told Rudy's mom that they believed that he was trafficked. Only, he wasn't. In 2018, a Houston PD received a call from a woman called Cassandra Lopez, who claimed to be Rudy's cousin. She claimed in the call that she had just seen Rudy at his mother's house. Police headed over to check this out and reported that they found no sign of Rudy at all. The lead detective in the case said that over the 8 years that Rudy had gone missing, there was limited contact with Miss Santana, Rudy's mom, and it was never clear exactly what happened to the boy. On July 3rd, 2023, Miss Santana released a statement thanking media and the public for all of their support. The statement read, "My son Rudy Farias has been found on Thursday, June 29th, after being missing for 8 years. Currently, we do not have any additional information on Rudy's case. What we do know is that at the time of the recovery, a Good Samaritan located him unresponsive and immediately called police and 911. My son Rudy is received in the care he needs to overcome his trauma, but at this time, he's nonverbal and not able to communicate with us. We're asking for privacy during this difficult time, but we'll share more details as Rudy continues to heal. She then released a photo of someone in a hospital bed, covered in blankets, showing injuries on his feet. For some reason, the police held off on questioning Rudy for 2 days, and this is where things go completely wild. On the 5th day of July, Rudy and his mother meet at the hotel with Houston PD Special Victims Unit and a local activist, counselor Quanell X.
One-on-one with Rudy and with one of the detectives. I heard horrific things from that young man. And I did not want him to see me start shedding tears, but I couldn't hold back the tears because of the things he was saying to us, detective and myself. No child should ever be treated like that by your own mother. This young man said that when he initially ran away, he came back 2 days later, and she told him that he had to hide, that he was going to get in trouble, and they were going to arrest him for running away, and that he had to continue hiding. So she hid him out for a while, then brought him back to the house and hid him in the home. And initially, whenever the investigators would come, she would hide him in the house. And he kept saying, I don't want her to go to prison. I don't want her to get in trouble. I don't want her to go to jail. And so we asked him, why did you run away? And he said he just got tired of her not respecting his boundaries. And she said that he wanted his own life. And his exact word was, I was tired of living like a slave. She would take him to work with her, and he would do the required work she was supposed to do. And a lot of the responsibilities of her job was on him. And he went on to say that what troubled him the most was her crossing his personal space boundaries. I knew something was wrong with the story. When she was questioned, when they found him, he had her credit card in his pocket. She just canceled that credit card 2.5 years ago. So if he's been missing for 8 years, how the hell he get your credit card in his pocket when they found him from 2.5 years ago? And he said to us that she gave him that credit card so he could go and buy her certain things.
But with the other allegations, what was her response to those allegations?
She hadn't even heard them because we had to remove her from the room.
But so she hasn't been questioned about that.
Can you describe her demeanor and his demeanor during questioning?
When she was in the room, he wouldn't say nothing. He wouldn't say one word when she was in the room. But the minute she left the room and we were allowed to talk to the young man, and he asked, he said, can I speak with Mr. X by myself? Can I talk to Quanell by myself? And the detective was like, well, can one of us stay in the room? And he was like, okay, but I'll talk to him. When she left, when he first came here, he was holding on to her. He wouldn't talk to her. He wouldn't say one word to anybody. Like he was petrified. But the minute he got alone by himself, he slowly calmed down. And he slowly began to talk very coherently and specific details.
This is a man in his mid-20s. People might wonder, why not run away from this situation? Why not get yourself out of it? Did he give you any explanation about that?
I honestly believe, based on what he said to us, she was drugging the hell out this kid. and she convinced him that he was in trouble for initially running away and that law enforcement wanted to arrest him and put him in jail for running away. She had convinced him that all type of agencies were looking for him to put him in jail.
The next day, the Houston PD provided a press update on the situation and had confirmed that the man that was found was in fact Rudy, who had been missing for 8 years. However, they reported that Rudy actually had been found the following day in 2015. His mother had decided to maintain the claim that Rudy was still missing. Rudy's aunts had called the police to report seeing Rudy. Rudy's grandmother reported talking to Rudy several times during the 8 years he was missing because she lived there. But Rudy's mother denied anyone speaking to her in the investigation. Rudy's grandmother died in 2020. Neighbors often saw a boy coming and going. Rudy's mother would often claim that it was her nephew called Dolph. There are tons of rumors, of course, of what happened, including Rudy's mother paying off the neighbors to life insurance policies, etc. How true any of that is, I don't know. She seems pretty desperate to hide him.
I won't say her name. When I was there in front of Jamie Santana's house, acknowledging everything that I knew deep in my heart that he has always been there all this time. But people thought, and I'm going to find out who the first investigator was when I heard about the disappearance, and I knew it wasn't right, okay? This investigator, I don't know who it was, but private investigator, she got on the phone with me and called me every name in the book that I didn't want to see Janie finding her son, etc., etc. And I said, you know what? That day's going to come that everything's going to come out to light.
Rudy has now spoken to the press on what happened to him. In tears, he explains how he had been trapped in his home and not able to leave. How he felt like he lived in prison, saying how sometimes his mother would lock him in the room when family would come by to keep him hidden. Rudy wanted to have his own life and found it hard to deal with his emotions. His mother often manipulated him by asserting that he would be in trouble if he was caught, for whatever reason. And over time, Rudy says it started to feel more of a Stockholm Syndrome situation. Stockholm Syndrome is where the captured starts to feel positively for their captor. Rudy denied something that Quanell alleged, which was the essay abuse aspect of it, saying that while his mother made him sleep in her bed sometimes, it was never sexual. I wouldn't lie about that because there's plenty of people that need honest truths when it comes to those things. That just muddles the waters to lie about those types of things, he said, adding that he never said anything bad about his mother in that regard. The police and Quanell have been back and forth with what was said. When the police went to Rudy's house to investigate, they found padlocked doors in the hallway. But this wasn't the first time they had been there. In 2020, they had been called to investigate the home to ensure that it was a safe living condition for the grandmother. In the report, it was said that the house was in an awful state. Covered in pet urine and feces, the grandmother slept on a couch that reeked of urine. In the end, the chief of police filed no charges against Rudy's mother, stating that it's not illegal to be missing. She has now since returned after fleeing in the night after Rudy's location. This whole thing just kept getting weirder and weirder. She was definitely in it for the money. But what is really bothersome to me is how the police were just not interested in looking for Rudy from the start. What if she had killed him? She would have just gotten away with it because no one even bothered to look for the boy. I don't know, tell me what you think about this one. I hope he finds peace, I really do. That's many, many, many years of therapy. Poor guy. Had you heard of this story? And Rudy apparently is still visiting with his mother recently despite all of this. Like, people are saying that they saw him as recently as this weekend at his mother's. There's also reports that he has been now living with her, but like I said, it's all conflicting and it's all rumors right now. So, as soon as I hear anything else, I'll update you with a new video. And a special thanks to my favorite people, Dazzling Dice, Dojin, KL17, and Richie the Wolf. You guys are so amazing, and I appreciate you more than you'll ever know.